I have the worst luck on earth, genuinely. Like, it, I must have walked under a ladder, broken a mirror, had a black cat cross my path, at the same time, stepped on a crack to break my mother's back or something. I just have these bouts of like bad luck being like unreal, but like not anything terrible, like just in a comical way. And that brings me to a story that I'm going to tell you guys today, and I do hope you enjoy this story very much. Um, so I was studying abroad in London. Um, I had this plan out for a long time. Went out to London to go study abroad, and while I was there, I met a very good group of friends. Some very very cool people. The friend group just sort of all fell together. It ended up working out quite good. That was one of the not unlucky things that happened to me during this period of my life. But every weekend they would go out on trips around Europe, you know, because for those of you who have never been to Europe, and those of you who are in Europe, nice to see you guys. I don't think anybody from Europe is going to be watching this. But those of you who have never been to Europe, Europe is basically like the size of the United States, if not smaller. I think it might actually be smaller than the United States, the entire continent. Um, and so it's really easy to like travel around Europe, just go to different countries. Like, if you want to be like, oh, let's go to Rome this weekend. Let's go to, you know, Barcelona, or let's go over to Athens or something this weekend. I don't know many cities in Europe. My geography is really bad, but I was just trying to name some cities. But, if you're like, let's just go to this random city in this other country, it's really easy to do, especially with like Ryanair. If you ever heard of Ryanair, super easy to book stuff with Ryanair, and it's super cheap, compared to flight prices in America. And so they would go on trips every weekend. I I was not one of those people who went on a trip every weekend. I'm kind of broke. Kind of crashed my ex's car right before going to London, so that kind of ate into my bank account a little bit too. So I didn't really go on a trip every weekend. I went on a trip with those guys once to go over to Barcelona, and then I was getting towards the end of my time in London, end of my time studying abroad, because it was just for one semester. And I was thinking, let me go on one more trip. And, I didn't really want to go alone. I had done a trip alone earlier, which I might talk about. Um, that trip didn't really go too well. Um, so I'm not really want to go on a trip alone. Doing trips alone never really works for me. So I asked my friends, what places they were going to that weekend. Um, so two of them were going over to Athens. Athens is pretty nice. Problem with Athens is that it's very touristy. Wasn't really the vibe I was going for. One of my buddies was going with one of his other friends over to Nice, which is a city in France. And I was really considering that one. But then one of my other friends, he was going over to Amsterdam. I'd heard some things about Amsterdam. Kind of has a reputation for being a crazy city, so I felt like that might be my vibe. But he was going with two of his friends, some other guys that I did not know at all. But it was gonna be chill because he was going with me. I knew the guy. We go over there, have a good time. Maybe take some shrooms. Smoke a little bit of the za. I got some good za in Amsterdam, and it's legal there, so I'm not talking about committing a crime here. Um, So I decided, hell yeah, let's go over to Amsterdam. I get my flight booked. I head on over to Amsterdam. As soon as I land, I get a text from the guy. I can't make it. He's not going. I've been abandoned in Amsterdam, the Sin City of Europe, and I've been abandoned. Obviously, his grandpa was in the hospital, so no hate to him. Obviously, I'm not saying that he abandoned me like to be rude or anything. Obviously, that's not the case here. But it was just like, second I land, he texts me and tells me that. Unreal. But it's okay. So I end up getting out of the airport after quite a while, and I head on over to my hostel. Try to figure out how to use the public transport system in there. Not as intuitive as the one in London, believe it or not. I end up going to a completely different station from the one that I want to get to, or that I need to get to. The directions are in Amsterdamian. I don't know, whatever language the Amsterdam people speak. I think they use some English, but I don't know. I don't pay enough attention to catch it. So I end up going to a completely different station than the one that I need to go to. And I end up getting out, and I'm trying to find a guy to tell me where to go. And nothing. I end up figuring out that, I was on the train. I ended up in a completely different city. So I had to use the tube system or the, subway system. Finally find a way to get there. And I end up in my hostel. Get me some food. Go to sleep for the night. Wake up the next day. And I'm just starved for things to do. I just don't know what to do. Usually I'm the kind of guy that, I like to go on, trips with the boys, but, I like to have somebody else figure out the plans, because I've been on some trips by myself, and I can tell you stories about those, but I'm not the best at figuring out the plan, really. So I end up finding this one place to sort of, it's like a lookout spot. It gives me a good view of the city. And, I sort of have a couple brewskis, catching the sweet view. I can see the whole city from there. It's real nice. And then I end up going down, and I'm just wandering around the city, get some food, and then I wander around the city for forever. And my friend who, left me there, he ends up, giving me the number of one of his friends, and, decides, that I'm just going to stay with them, while I'm there, and, we'll try to have a good trip without him. Problem is, I don't know these guys, and I'm just, staying in a room with them, hanging out with them for the whole weekend. I'm a pretty sociable guy, so it wasn't that bad, but, it was a little bit weird, just these random blokes. Don't even know these guys. But, the guy does not end up responding to me for the whole day, and I'm just wandering around the city, and it's getting really cold, and I don't know where to go. And then he tells me where the hotel is. I don't know where to go. I'm just wandering around the city trying to figure out where the hell I am. And finally I end up finding the hotel. And then, so I get into the hotel, end up, waiting for them for a while. They end up getting in, and, we have a fairly decent rest of the trip, I'm a little bit disappointed because, we don't end up going out and, hitting the town, because I really wanted to hit the town and, hit the clubs, hit the bars. That did not end up occurring, unfortunately. But, that's fine. That's fine. We smoked a little weed. The weed in Amsterdam is elite. Best I've ever had. Not a big weed guy, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Um, I feel like we have a pretty good time. I feel like the guys, enjoyed my presence there. I gave them some cigarettes. We had a great experience overall. And I end up getting back and I find out those guys did not fuck with me for some reason. I don't know why. The reason this happens is because I end up, they end up going over to London, to go visit this friend. And we end up meeting at this bar in London, me, my friend group, and them. And this bar is called Big Penny Social, which, by the way, if you're ever in London, you have got to go to Big Penny Social. If there's anything you learn from this video, it's that you have to go to Big Penny Social. Elite bar, probably the best place in London. Just a really chill spot to just hang out and have a good time. Karaoke machines are cool there. It's lots of fun. We used to go over and play a lot of darts there. It's a really great place. Definitely check it out. But we end up meeting at Big Penny Social, and it's fine. They seem a little off, but it's chill. We end up going into the middle of London to go hang out at some other bar, and then we end up heading back, and we end up stopping at a liquor store. So we're just trying to get some booze, trying to chill in the apartment. So we go over to the liquor store to get some alcohol. But as soon as I get my alcohol, those guys are just gone. I end up finding out they just purposefully left. They just didn't fuck with me for some reason. I don't know why. Seemed like we were having a good time the whole time. But, what are you going to do? Not everybody's going to like you. I think one thing you got to learn is that not everybody's going to like you. And apparently they didn't. I don't know. Doesn't mean you did anything wrong. Now, if nobody likes you, you're probably doing something wrong. But I don't think that's the case here. I don't know what it was. It was a chill time. So yeah, moral of the story, I don't know. I don't think there's a moral to this story. I think it's just weird experience. Go over to Amsterdam, try to have a good time. Friend ends up not being able to come. End up with some other random guys that I don't know. Try to have a good time. If they end up, I don't know, being weird, not fucking with you for some reason. Shit happens, that's life. All I can say is, don't go to Amsterdam. It's all like prostitutes and stuff. Lots of prostitutes there. I could see the prostitutes over on the, because I didn't say it, but we, our hotel was actually on the, what's it called, like the Red Strip or something, red light district. Yeah, our hotel was in the red light district. I didn't get a hooker. I don't think they got a hooker. I was thinking about it, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. When in Amsterdam, fuck a prostitute. Didn't end up doing it, but maybe next time. Buddies. Nah, I'm just kidding. I can get it. I got girls. I don't have to worry about that. But when in Rome also. When in Rome. But anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was an interesting experience in my life, Something. It was something, all right. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, and check me out on Twitch, because I'd be streaming to record these videos, just hoping that anybody pops in, maybe enjoys listening to me talk, so yeah, hope you have a great night. Peace out.